Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother Sa'id Tasneem. I have a very special person here with me, somebody who just did an interview with me. This is a brother, I'm sure you've heard of him, I'm sure you've seen his videos. There's so many Muslims that have benefited, alhamdulillah. Eddie with TheDeenShow. Check this out. Assalamu alaikum, Eddie.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace, mercy, and blessings of the Almighty be upon you. How you guys doing? Assalamu alaikum.
MashaAllah, it's so amazing, subhanAllah. I know brother Eddie, he interviews everybody, but I wanted to interview him. I'm just gonna ask him a few quick questions, inshallah. And I caught him off guard. He didn't know I'm gonna do this, but I was like, I'm here, Eddie's here, let's ask him a few questions. Eddie, I know you interview a lot of people, and you hear a lot of inspirational stories. You hear about how people came to Islam and what they went through. Would you say that's one of the ways that you have managed to try to maintain your Iman and increase your Iman, is to have that real connection with real Muslims and their stories?
When you look at this phone that you're recording with, the cameras that we just use, they got a certain battery life. And that battery life gets drained, right?
Yep.
And then it's worthless. It's not good. And you had mentioned a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ talked about the heart. There's a morsel of flesh in the body. If it's sound, the whole body is sound. And the fuel, the battery life for the Iman is the knowledge. And when I get to sit with people like yourself, with people of knowledge, hearing these wonderful stories of people accepting Islam, I get empowered, right? Many people, and I talked about this today, when you don't get empowered by the owner of power, Allah, the Creator, it's temporary, it's weak. And I find that when I'm able, and this is what, alhamdulillah, we're going on over, alhamdulillah, 10 years, over 500 episodes.
MashaAllah.
And it's like my life, my heart comes to life again.
Amazing.
You know, we go up and down.
Amazing.
But when I'm able to recharge, through knowledge, I always try to make sure if I'm in the car, supposed free time, I like to, do things with the kids, family, and whatnot. But I try to make sure that it's not wasted time. I make sure that I'm recharging, and through the things that every time you're reading a book, you're listening to a lecture, you're listening to a talk, a dialogue about Islam, something that has to do with the deen, you're on Allah's time clock. You know that, right?
Yep.
Right? It's an act of ibadah.
Yep.
And it's so much different than sometimes you can get caught up into doing something that's a waste of time, and you're not on Allah's time, you're not getting rewarded for that time, and then the Iman starts affecting the heart, right?
Definitely. You know what, subhanAllah, what Eddie mentioned, I get this question a lot, the question about Iman, like how do I maintain my Iman? And I'm always like, Iman is it's not an on and off switch, right? This is not like on or off, it's our day-to-day stuff, like constantly working on our Iman. And that's why, I think it's amazing that, with all the content that Eddie has out there, even if you, and this is a personal testimony, and, he doesn't know I was going to say this, but just listen to some of these interviews and revive your Iman, right? None of us are perfect. Our Iman isn't always going to be at 100%, but we need things like this. We need knowledge, we need inspirational stories, we need experiences, and that's why, the Quran is full of what? Stories, right? Stories. Why? Because that's a means of inspiration for us. Real quick, Eddie, I'm not going to keep this long, but if you could share with us one story, one incident from your life, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, I apologize for that, but something from your life that, you found to be inspirational or that helped you out, inshallah.
The moments of motivation, inspiration is usually when I sit down with different individuals. There was a Hispanic brother not too long ago. I did a program because we talked about, when I interviewed you, about getting burnt out. A lot of times people who are, everyone has to at some point, you might have an Arabic or you got a Muslim name, and then you're just going through the rituals, right? You're taking it for granted.
Yeah.
And what happens is when you see the struggle that people have gone through to come to Islam. This brother was kidnapped.
Was kidnapped back home in Mexico, so I ended up.
This brother went through all sorts of trauma and drama until he just was like, God, wherever you are.
So whatever you are, just guide me. If you don't guide me, I'm just gonna.
And I see this when I talk to people. I see this when someone opens up their heart and they just ask something so basic and so simple. But people, they go around the world and back and they don't do something. There's brilliance and simplicity. Allah has made it simple. And if you ask Allah for guidance, He will facilitate a way. And this brother, and I see so many people, and I get touched by this. I see how the struggles that they had to endure and how much more they appreciate the deen. They appreciate it. He was like, God, just wherever you are.
I don't care if you're with the Buddhists, with the Hindus, or whatever you are, just guide me.
If you're in Buddhism, if you're in Hinduism, if you're just guide me. And alhamdulillah, Allah opened up that door. And there were so many people who stuck it out. Allah tested them, tested their sincerity, and they're still with us strong today. I get inspired by that. That motivates me. I said, what you got to complain about? Look at that, man. These people who have just, look, anything that's worth anything is in the ground. It's deep in there. So people have, with the Islamophobia machine, it's a $200+ million annually. It's spent to debase Islam, throwing dirt on it. So Allah tests your sin. You gotta dig a little bit. You gotta find that treasure like without digging, without some work. So Allah knows He put just the amount of work precise that you have to do. But if you're sincere, and when I listen to these stories of people, that inspires me. That inspires me to keep doing what we're doing, to share these, that hopefully now you can get inspired by hearing other people's trials and tribulations. You're like, wow, alhamdulillah, I'm so thankful for this blessing. Islam is a priceless gift. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. Appreciate it. Live it. Get empowered by it. And these are the kind of things that every week, 30 minutes a day, every Friday we put out a new show with people who've been empowered by Islam, by this beautiful way of life, experts who talk about, many of the different dilemmas, the Islamophobia challenges, how to deal with it in the best way. Tune in. What do you got to lose? Nothing, but so much to gain.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Eddie. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because sometimes we think, if my iman's not going up with this or that particular thing, then, what's the point? You never know what will be the source of your iman going up. It could be a video, it could be a conversation, and we just got to be conscious beings. We got to have our hearts open. Jazakallah khair, Brother Eddie. I'm not going to hold you up for too much longer. I want to shake your hands, so I'm going to have to switch hands. Bismillah, let's try this. Jazakallah khair, Brother Eddie. And I make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses your efforts and keeps you going. And I ask everybody who's watching this to keep watching Brother Eddie's Deen Show. May Allah bless him. May Allah bless all of you. Take care. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Real's how we keep it. Get ready for Eddie. Sit back and beat it.